Yes, now we are okay. Oh yeah, thank you.
Great.
Oh my God, you guys. Thank you so much. I don't even know where to start. So, guys, we just gonna begin this because we are so late, but I'm glad finally it worked. So welcome to Travel with Eva Mtali. This is your number one YouTube channel for all things travel, working abroad, living abroad, and studying abroad. And we also explore the experiences of people who have moved from their own country to go and work elsewhere or live elsewhere or travel elsewhere. So I am your host, Eva Mtali. If you're new here, you are welcome. If you are a returning viewer, we are so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for your patience. We do not take it for granted. And today I am joined by Adedamola, who immigrated to Canada from Nigeria. And he is going to share with us his story of how he immigrated to Canada on a work visa. So Adedamola applied for jobs in Canada from his home country, which is Nigeria, and eventually landed a position in Canada. And this led to his work permit application and eventual move to Canada. So Adedomola, welcome so much to
Yeah.
Ivam Tali, and we are so excited that you are here. Thank you so much for your patience. I was so stressed. I have tried live like 3 times, but I'm glad that it finally worked out. So we are honored
Yeah.
that you accepted my invitation. And so just to start out off, could you please introduce yourself to my audience and just share a bit about your background and what motivated you to move to Canada?
All right. Thank you for having me, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Yeah.
Guys, if
So
you can hear him, please let him know. Please go ahead, we can hear you.
oh great. All right. I'm Adedamola Otun, and I run a financial reporting blog. This is okay. Clearly, okay. Great. All right. Yeah. So I'm Adedamola Otun, and by profession, I'm an accountant. I currently work with an audit firm here in Canada. I also used to work with an audit firm in Nigeria before coming to Canada. And I run a financial reporting YouTube page. And when I relocated from Nigeria to Canada just about 3 months ago, I thought to share my experience with others so that they can also make use of that opportunity. And that's why I created a playlist for it because you might be wondering what does IFRS mean. Yeah, so that's exactly the essence of the page before I added the career playlist to it. And I think, like many other people that have traveled out of the country, the major underlying factor is that you want to test and see new horizons and also see other opportunities outside your country. So I think that's basically the major driving force why I relocated from Nigeria to Canada. Pretty much. Over to you, Eva.
Okay, thank you so much, Adedamola. You're going to have to increase your volume a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Some people
Okay.
are saying they can't hear you. So thank you so much. So can you just share with us any, strategies that you used to tailor your job application and just make sure that for each job you applied for and how you highlighted your relevant experiences and qualifications. So but even before we even get to that, maybe we can start by you telling us how you went about researching job opportunities in Canada while you were still in Nigeria. Are there any specific websites that you zeroed in on, maybe 2, 3 main ones that you are using, and then we can move forward to any strategies that you used to make sure that, people were, employers were getting back to you, whether it is with regrets or with yes, can we have an interview and all that.
Yeah, I think the major strategy is it better now? Is the volume better now?
Yes. Guys,
Okay,
oh, they're
okay.
still saying a bit louder.
Because
Just for
I'm
you
okay
guys,
that I'm talking
please
about.
understand Adedamola is a bit soft-spoken, unlike
Oh,
the rest of us. So
okay.
just look closer.
I'll project louder and also. Okay, so I hope it is better now. Yeah. So basically, in terms of uh, searching for opportunities, I think the for me the major thing I did was to first highlight the areas or roles that I'm looking to apply to. I think that's the first thing because oftentimes people are tempted to apply to whatever job that they see because of the zeal of wanting to leave their country or wanting to relocate. And so I think the first thing I did was to identify exactly the role that I'm looking to get. And so that was the first thing. And then the second thing is that look for companies that have the roles that I actually want to apply to. And one of the major things I did was to highlight all those companies that I'm interested in or that I was interested in then. And I started going to their career pages on their website to apply. That was the first thing. Now, the second thing, which is like one of the biggest for any other person, aside from identifying companies that you want to apply to by going to the career page of their website, another thing that is important, especially when you're looking to relocate to Canada, is to actually go to what we call Canada Job Bank. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Canada Job Bank is like a platform where uh, the Canadian government sort of regulates and allows employers in Canada to actually put up employment opportunities that both foreign workers and people within Canada can actually apply to. So it's more like an aggregator for jobs. Yeah, so you can just search on Google or probably I can put the link somewhere here after this. To just search for Canada Job Bank, you will see that, and that's like the major aggregator for many people. Then aside from Canada Job Bank, there are also all other sites that you can actually try. You can try trabajo.org, you can try ZipRecruiter, you can try Indeed, LinkedIn. Yeah, but for me, basically, I try to focus on the company that I was looking for. I went to the career page to apply directly. Yeah, then aside that, then I now tried others that I just mentioned. So that's basically it. And I think somebody one of those other things is LinkedIn. Yeah, so LinkedIn is quite underused, and I think it's one of the major platforms where you can see companies that you are truly interested in, and you can even create notifications, subscribe to their notifications, job notifications specifically for the roles that you're interested in, and then you get all those infos, and you just create a timeline for yourself in terms of applying. So pretty much that's what I did.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you brought about the issue of LinkedIn. So maybe you can talk a little bit how important networking and building relationships during this job search process was for you, because I know LinkedIn is just that, LinkedIn, yeah? So maybe you can touch on a little bit the importance of networking and building relationships, and if that played any role in your job search process.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn played and still plays a very important role in my job search. And sincerely, I think that probably so many people underuse LinkedIn. Yeah, because when you apply to an employer, the first thing that they do, which I believe, is that they actually look through your LinkedIn profile, or at minimum they check you, look you up on Google, and what often comes out is your LinkedIn profile. Because if you want to employ somebody outside of the country and you actually want to take that pay, you want to know that person ahead of time. Yeah, so updating your profile to meet the expectations of an employer is as important as the effort you put in applying to jobs. And for me, sincerely, oftentimes I notice that when I apply on the career site of all those websites, before I know it, I will get a notification that somebody has checked my profile. Yeah, so it is very, very important that your LinkedIn meets the necessary requirement. I mean, it checks all the boxes that it has to check in terms of the way you flow uh, your experience, the relevant experience that you put in, the way you structure it, and the way you engage on the platform. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be a thought leader for you to actually share posts on LinkedIn. Yeah, so I think LinkedIn is very, very undervalued. And it's something that guys should look. So, yeah.
Oh, great. And then I'm just curious in terms of your educational credentials. So did you like study in Nigeria, or did you like, maybe you can tell us about your educational credential, and in terms of any challenges you might have faced in having your credentials recognized, especially I'm assuming you studied in Nigeria. So did you like have any challenges in having your credentials recognized by Canadian employers or regulatory bodies? I know you're an accountant, there's all this CPA and all that. So if any, how did you address these challenges? Because this is something that a lot of us face here.
Yeah.
You're educated in a different country, but you're looking for a job in Canada. So how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I studied in Nigeria. I had my BSc in Nigeria, and I think there is always the misconception that you have to have a particular certification, or that your certification in Nigeria does not necessarily work for Canadian employers. And I will say that that's a total lie, because I didn't have to even study for CPA. I had my ICANN, which is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. It's ACA, is an Associate Chartered Accountant certification, and it's something that, because almost all countries around the world that offers ACA have MOU around the world in terms of memorandum of understanding. So you don't necessarily need to go and write other certifications before you can actually get the job you're looking for. Yeah, so I didn't have to write CPA. I mean, it was just my ICANN, which is my local certification that I had, and also my BSc that I use in applying. So I didn't have to write CPA, and I didn't have that kind of challenge. And never came up in any of our conversations during my interviews that I had that I needed to have a CPA before I could be considered for the opportunity.
Oh, great. So if I hear you well, you're saying just going by the qualifications you already had, you are able to apply for these jobs and actually get hired, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm curious, what factors, now in hindsight, yeah, what
Yeah.
factors worked in your favor in terms of you have your certification from Nigeria, but you're looking for a job in Canada. So what other factors do you think played a role in your favor when you're applying for the jobs from outside of Canada? And also, is there any barriers that you encountered? And now in hindsight, you think maybe if I did this way, maybe the process would be easier. But before you answer that, I'm curious, how many job applications did you really actually make before you landed this one? And
I
how
can't
many
put it.
interviews roughly did you do?
I can't put a number to it actually, because I applied a lot. I mean, I started the application proper around mid 2021, and I got my first role uh, in the second, around first and second month in January, February 2022. So
Oh,
that
so
took
like a
me.
whole year of doing job applications.
You said what?
So that was like a whole year of applying for jobs.
So I mean, it's as good as 6 months, 7 months, 8 months of applying for jobs. And I had so many interviews that I participated in. Yeah, so I can't put a number to that. I applied to so many that I can't even remember.
So if I hear well, this is a volumes game, right? Targeted volumes game.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a volume game, but I would say targeted volume game, like you said. Yeah, because I think if I look at it hindsight, I would say that uh, the way I first started out wasn't good enough, because I was just applying. In fact, my CV was not as structured as it eventually was. I was just applying, I could say, aimlessly. Yeah. But I think one of the major things that I would advise anyone to consider is that the first thing is know the role you want to apply to. Then the second thing is be specific on your CV, which is very, very important. I mean, the way you structure your CV determines the invite that you get. You don't want to be all over the place. You don't want to put in irrelevant information in your CV. And you don't want to just apply to any job, whether I qualify for it or not. Yeah, so I think taking time to actually consider the roles that you are interested in, the kind of opportunity that you're looking for, and structuring your CV to meet that, and also your LinkedIn profile to meet that, is as important as the application itself. Yeah, so I think if I look hindsight, I think that's a major thing that I would advise anyone to consider.
So if I hear you well, you're saying, had you had taken this targeted approach from the beginning, tailoring your CV to whatever roles you're looking at, tailoring your LinkedIn profile, then this process would have happened even faster, right?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, there are some experience that you already have on your CV that you most likely don't need. If you've had the opportunity to work on various roles, now what you want to do is to streamline all those experiences into the role that you're applying to. Or at best, if you're looking at getting either this or that, you can actually create two CV, one that is meeting a particular one. Say, for example, you are looking to apply to HR and also looking to apply to customer support representative, then you have to have at minimum two CVs such that each CV is meeting the expectations of the job. So that's pretty much it.
So every job you're applying to, you have to go and look at your CV and make sure that it is matching that particular job, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Oh, great. So what steps did you take to prepare for interviews with the Canadian employers? And I'm curious, I'm looking at things like researching the companies,
Yeah.
practicing interview skills, and what role did your experience in Canada play either negative, sorry, not experience in Canada, in Nigeria, play either positively or negatively through the interview process?
Yeah, I think it's very important, just like I said earlier, that you need to first understand the role that you're applying to. You need to at least build the expectation that, okay, this is the role that I'm looking to apply to. That because that's what will inform the experience you have. And that's what will also inform the kind of engagement that you have with your interviewers. And so for me, my experience in Nigeria really played a significant role because I was just applying to the kind of job or the kind of role that I used to have in Nigeria. So it was very easy for me to actually flow with interviewers. And I think that the more interviews you do, the better you are at it. Yeah, so the fact that you did an interview and you didn't get a success meal does not mean that you lost on every part of the interview. Yeah, so because at the end of it, I noticed that subsequent interviews that I had, I was able to leverage on the experience of the previous interview because oftentimes the kind of questions that they have are not so different. I mean, in terms of uh, both technical skills and even soft skills kind of questions. And so I think I was able to leverage on the experience that I had on field interviews for getting the roles that I eventually got. And so it is very, very important that your experience matters. So it is very important that you take cognizance of that.
So can we say then that rejection by employer A is actually an advantage for you because it prepares you, it makes you a better interviewee for employer B. Yeah.
Definitely, that's spot on. Definitely.
So we shouldn't look at it like in a negative manner. This employer rejected me. They called me for interview. They didn't give me. I think we can say that it's like a learning process for the
Yeah,
next interview, right?
yeah, definitely. Because to be frank, I got a lot of rejection news. I mean, I won't sugarcoat it. I got a lot of rejection news, and at the end of it, after I took more interviews, I eventually got three offers from three different countries. After getting so many rejection mails, so the rejection mails are not meant to put you down; they are meant to actually build you up for subsequent ones. So I don't think you lost in any way by getting an interview and you didn't get through it.
Oh, wow. So I'm just curious. So how did you stay motivated and resilient through the job search process? And and especially bearing in mind you are doing most of it during COVID time, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
definitely.
just curious, how did you stay motivated? And were there like any specific resources or support systems that helped you along the way?
Yeah, I think basically, what number one thing that got me motivated was the fact that I had colleagues that also went through that process and they were successful at it. I mean, they had a whole lot of interviews, they had a lot of rejection mails, and at the end of it all, I mean, it just takes one interview that will put you in front, and then you get your job. Yeah, so I mean, that was the first mode of motivation for me because I could see people that have actually gone uh, through that same route and then they were successful at it. So that's the first motivation. And the second motivation is that you're looking to move from your current environment to a better environment. In terms of in quotes now. Yeah. So I think it's enough motivation as well, just to see, just to get international experience, to get that exposure and all. So those two were the major factors for me. Staying, and I was just persistent, just applying, keep applying, change your strategy, update your CV regularly, and make sure that every application that you're making is intentional. You are specific to the description, the job description of the job that you're looking to apply to. I think it's pretty much being specific, not being all over the place, and you know what you want, and you're persistent at it. At the end of it, you always get success after it.
Oh, wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So maybe you can also just touch on how your work experience in Nigeria prepared you for your current position in Canada. And are there any differences in how you have had to approach your work in Canada? So here I'm talking about just general things that people have to be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's true. Because I mentioned that the kind of job that I got is pretty much what I was doing in Nigeria. Yeah, so you can never take off or take away the fact that your experience in your home country actually plays a good role. Otherwise, they won't even have hired you in the first place. Yeah, so my experience in Nigeria was very, very pivotal to what I currently do here, and I enjoy it. Only that I get exposed to more kind of transactions compared to what I had in my own country. Yeah, but aside that, the same experience helps a lot. Yeah, because I actually got the job that's related to what I was doing in Nigeria. So, except for the add-ons in terms of being exposed to more or different ways of doing things, the experience I had in Nigeria was very crucial to uh, what I currently do here as well.
And what about from a cultural, social perspective? I know,
Yeah,
I know about Kenya. Like, I could just walk to my colleague and say, "Hey, how did you wake up?" And I know it's a little different.
yeah. Yeah. I think that in terms of culture, I don't really see much difference in terms of culture. I'm talking about the work culture, not the environment itself. So in terms of work culture, the work culture is still the same. I mean, you get to you get to work with your colleagues. You are open to discussions and all. And I don't think there's really any much difference. Yeah, maybe it's the perspective with which we all look at it, but for me, I didn't really see any much difference in the way I used to work in Nigeria and here, except for the fact that maybe I now have more time to do other things. I don't get to be, there's no compulsion of having to work on weekends. Uh, you can work from home at any time and at any rate. Yeah, so I don't think that there's any much. Even while I was in Nigeria, I had a job where I had to be working from home as well. So for me, the work culture has not really changed as much.
Yeah, and I think accountants are generally just boring people all over the world. They're all the same. I am one, so I know.
We do pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so the other question I had was we have a lot of people who are very skeptical on this whole idea of trying to get a job in Canada when you are outside. And one thing I always try to encourage people is that there are different ways of moving to Canada, but the best way to move is when you have a job. So people should try, if they can get a job, then by the time you get there, you get kind of a soft landing. But people are usually very, very skeptical. I don't know, what can you say about, I mean, like personally, when I share job openings on the channel, some of the employers actually get back to me because sometimes I make sure that I talk to them before I come on the channel. But people come and say, "Oh, Eva, we have sent 1,000 applications, no response." I don't know what you can say to that. Could we make a blanket statement and say these employers don't respond, they're never going to get back to us, let's just give up? I don't know what you have to say about that.
Yeah, it's possible to have that notion, especially when you've tried it a lot and you're not getting the feedback that you're looking for. And like I said earlier, I think it's not much of volume alone. It also has to do with the strategy or the approach with which you make those applications. So you want to apply to roles that you fit in. You also want to be specific in terms of the kind of CV that you have built, in terms of your layout, in terms of the structure, in terms of, I mean, so your CV is very, very important because that's what describes you. That's the number one thing. Yeah. So and the fact that other people have done it, they've moved from their home country to Canada means that it's possible for you to also do it. Yeah, and I didn't have to use an agent for anything. I applied, I was interviewed, I got the job, and they did the processing for me. Yeah, so and that is how it is for. I believe that's how most employers are here because what they do is they obtain an LMI. It's the employer that obtains the LMI on your behalf. So you're not the one that will do that. So once they obtain the LMI, then they process the visa for you. So I think the major thing is just the approach with which you apply and also the persistence that you put in your applications. But I don't think that the fact that I've said so many does not mean that some people are not doing it and getting through with it.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And maybe then now that we are here, can you kindly walk us through the process of applying for your work permit for Canada and how you use your job offer to support your application?
Okay, yeah. So, I mentioned that after you've gotten the job, it is the uh, it is your employer or it is the job of your employer to actually get you to Canada. Yeah. So that's how it works. So the LMIA is basically the approval that the employers get from the Canadian government to say that, oh, they've searched for employees in Canada they couldn't get, and now they are bringing in foreign workers to come work with them. That's the LMI. That's the essence of the LMI. So once they get it, they are the one that will process it. Every step you need to take, they are the one that will tell you. So for me, my own experience, after I got the job offer, they sent me the letter and all. Then they told me that okay, that I should. So I was going to meet with some of their immigration consultants, and I spoke with the immigration consultant and what they told me is that okay, on an average, it takes like 9 months to process, and the experience differs for so many people. Yeah, but because of my own country, it takes probably 8 months or thereabouts. Yeah, so for me, it took from I got the job offer 1st of March, and between that March till October, that was when I actually eventually got the permission to travel to Canada. And the process was more of me them informing me that okay, this is the next thing to do. Now, for example, I was requested to get my transcript, my school transcript. I was also requested to get a police certificate. So it's called a police character certificate. So you just go to the police station, your locale, and then you ask them to do fingerprint and all. And then there's a way they always process that to get a police certificate. So I sent those two to them. I also sent the fact that I was currently working in the company because I mean that was what they interviewed me for. So I had to send my employment offer letter from my own current company to them as well. So those are the things that they use in making the application on my behalf. And after that, then they now told me, probably like 2 months after, they told me, okay, you can now go for uh, your medicals. So I go for medicals in Nigeria. Here, I had to pay for medicals. Yeah. So then after medicals, I also did biometrics. For me, I didn't have to pay for biometrics. Biometrics was free for me. And thereafter, I had to now do the waiting. Yeah, so it was now more like the waiting period is when the IRCC, the Canada immigration guys, now do all their checks and all before they eventually now approve you. And once they approve you, they tell you to send your passport to the what's it called to the guys that will stamp it. So you send your passport for stamping, and after they sent it, they will now send you your stamped passport. So the stamped passport that I now take to travel out of the country. And you don't even get the work permit with that stamped passport. It is when you get to the port at in Canada that you now meet with the immigration officer there for you to now get the work permit itself. So what you get here is just travel permit. What we allow you to travel to Canada. But when you get to Canada, that's when you now get the work permit itself. So that's the whole story took me from March to October before I eventually get the uh, approval to travel.
Wow, thank you so much. Now that you're on travel, maybe you can tell us how, like, you've now arrived at border control in Canada. You're at the airport. How was that like? What documents did you have to show? What questions did they ask you? How was that process?
Yeah, so I think the process is quite smooth. Yeah, because I mean they have it's organized, they have a way of doing it, and they have how do I put it now? Machines that you, there are people that attend to you as well to tell you what to do. So you are not on your own. So once you get there, you'll be on a queue, they will direct you. If you are traveling from another country to the country for the first time, they will direct you to where you should go to. Once you get there, you will see different machines and they will tell you to scan your passport, do put in some other information based on, I mean, your your information that you already have. After you've done that, then they will not direct you to the RCC officer, the immigration officer itself. And the questions they will ask you, they are basic questions. I mean, based on my experience, they are basic questions like, okay, what's the name of the employer that you are what's it called? That employed you here in Canada. What's your salary range? They didn't even ask for proof of funds. Yeah, because I think for most likely, I think for the fact that you already have a job in Canada, they don't require you to have proof of funds. Because for me, in my experience, I didn't have to provide that. I was never asked that. Yeah, so they are just basic questions. They look at your passport, they ask you about the details of your passport, details about yourself, and details about the job, what you came to do in Canada. So there are basic questions that anybody can answer based on the fact that they're asking them what they've experienced already.
Oh, thank you so much. Would you say it is a lot easier for some professions to get jobs from outside Canada than others? If yes, which are like the five that you think is they have like an easier, I don't know, can I say it's easier or they have higher chances if you're in those professions?
Huh?
Or it
So
doesn't
so
really matter. It depends on you.
I don't think it really matters, yeah, because it depends on the kind of jobs available. Yeah, so I don't think it really matters whether you're coming in as a cleaner, whether you're coming in as an healthcare giver, whether you're coming in as an administrative assistant, whatever role that you're coming in for. I mean, as long as that person or the employer has put up the application, the job advert on Canada job bank, and they indicated that foreign workers can apply, then there's really no, I don't think there's any other, oh, this job is much more in demand than this. I mean, all these things change over time. And considering the fact that summer is coming, there will even be more non-skilled worker jobs that will be available than skilled workers. Yeah, because I mean, that's when tourism is on high demand. Yeah, so I don't think there's a particular order in which you can place jobs. Yeah, except maybe the Canadian government themselves have a list that people can go through.
So nobody can come here and say, oh, Adedamola is just lucky because he's an accountant.
I
You
don't think
can't
so.
say that, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you so much. So what advice do you have for job seekers outside Canada, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, anywhere else, all those other countries who are interested in applying for jobs in Canada, but may feel discouraged or, by the distance, by the fact that they're outside of Canada, or they may be unfamiliar with the Canadian job market? What maybe 3, 4 advice you can give people?
Yeah, I think the major advice is already contained in what I've said earlier. And I think the major thing is you need to know exactly what you want and you need to structure your approach based on that. So I think that's the major thing. And another thing is the fact that you need to be persistent. If you actually need this thing, you need to be persistent with it. There's really no other way to say it. Yeah, so just the fact that other people have done it and they went through is an indicator that most likely you can also do it and go through it. Yeah, so the major thing is be structured in your approach and also be persistent with it. So those are the two major advice that I could say.
Oh, thank you. So last question from me before I go and check what the audience are saying. And this you can answer. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. It's because I've seen a lot of it here, but it was also in my list. How did you handle the process of negotiating your salary and benefits with your Canadian employer? And did you encounter any challenges during this process? Or was it like, hey, this is the salary, this is the job, end of story?
Okay, yeah. So I think everybody has access to, to a particular level. Everyone most likely has access to a range of salary that is being paid to different uh, skills. Yeah. So if you go to, the first thing I always do is when I'm about to probably interview for a job, I always search on Glassdoor. There's a platform
Yes,
called Glassdoor,
glassdoor.com.
yeah, where you can actually confirm the salary range. Yeah, because it is real people that actually put in the salary that they've had in their experience working at the company that you're interviewing for. So I think that's like my first approach. So I go there, I look at the salary range. And so when I'm interviewing, I know what to say in terms of the range. Yeah, I may not be specific to say, okay, this is the amount I want. Yeah, but if they ask me, I always put up that range. Say, okay, this is what I'm looking or I'm expecting. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. The major thing is you make your own research and then whatever comes, as long as you're happy with it, then you're good to go.
Oh, great. Thank you. Now, let me go to the questions we have here from the audience.
Okay.
All right, let me see. Okay, I have to scroll from when we're upside down. Oh, maybe I should read from here. Let me read from here so that I'm not upside down. And at the Damola, sometimes my people can be very, if you feel a question is too personal, just say pass, okay? I'm gonna just read everything. If it's too personal, you can say pass, okay? And guys, I would encourage you, please go and subscribe to IFRS is easy. That's Adedamola's channel. He gives more in-depth videos. There are some of the things we've covered here. In the interest of time, I didn't want to get too much because you already spent a whole 30 minutes just trying to deal with the technology. Anyhow, the first question we have here is, let's see. George is saying, I'm in supply chain, any opportunity. So guys, just for the record, Adedamola is not a recruiter. I just brought him here to share with us his journey. So yeah, he's not a recruiter. He's not like, unless, I don't know, did you come with any jobs? Maybe I'm here saying, and maybe you have like 5 jobs.
I'm not into HR, so I
Yeah,
can only
okay,
tell
guys.
you the sites I can go to apply to.
Yes, and he has already shared the sites with us right here. You can also check some on his channel. So what do we have here? Where are they? Okay, so George is saying, I'm in supply chain, any opportunity? Mm-hmm.
I can't say, but the major thing is I believe that if you go through all those sites, you most likely should
Yeah.
see what you're looking
Okay, thank you. Can lawyers relocate through this means? Victory is asking.
for. I want to believe that most likely any job that you are looking for should be on this site. So if you want to confirm for yourself, just go to Canada Job Bank and search, just type it, lawyer or assistant lawyer, whatever it is it may be, just type it there. If it comes up, then most likely then there are availabilities for it. And I believe that even lawyers have different roles they can even play aside from just law itself. Yeah, so there are so many things I can consider even as a lawyer. So I believe that you should see something you're looking for.
Thank you. Gertrude is asking, do they provide accommodation, visa, air tickets?
Okay, so in terms of that, I think it depends on the kind of arrangement that you have with your employer, and it also depends on the what your employer is offering to you. Yeah, so it's not a general. There's no baseline for you to say that every employer has to provide this and to provide that. So there are instances where an employer will even say, okay, incur expenses in terms of accommodation, in terms of flight tickets and all, and tell you that when you get here, I will reimburse you. Yeah, so there are situations and instances like that. But it is not, there is no baseline to say everyone must do that. Yeah, so that's why all this time that you are using to apply and wait is also a good time to build your finance enough for you to have enough to relocate. Yeah, but there is no There's no standard that says that an employer is obliged to do that.
Oh, thank you. Gertrude is also asking another question. Are you paid hourly, weekly, or monthly?
Okay, so the thing is, I'm not sure how it works in all companies. Yeah, but based on what I've had or what I've seen some of my friends here say, is that they get paid bi-weekly.
Okay, so
That's
every 2 weeks,
that's
guys.
yeah, every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
actually,
it
most
depends.
roles are like that.
You said what?
I say most roles pay every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because based on the conversation I've had with some of the guys that I met here, some of the Nigerians I met here as well. I mean that's what they say.
All right. Somebody's asking which state are you in? I think they meant province because in Canada it's provinces.
Yeah, it's province. I'm in Alberta.
Okay, Alberta. Gertrude has another question. Suppose you have never worked before, no skills, you cannot have a profile on LinkedIn. No, I always say I don't believe anybody can have no skills. At least you can be able to do something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they are employing you based on your skills and your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want them to employ you, then you have to have something you're offering as well. Because if I mean you pay for value, so the value is the skills and experience that you have.
Okay. Please, Eva, I'm an electrician with more than 12 years of experience in power plant. That's our question. Fumibla is saying, can the guest draft a Canadian CV for us? Please go to his channel. He has shared the exact resume that he used to get jobs in the 3 countries he talked about. I know there was Ireland, Canada. What was the other one? UK?
UK, yeah.
Yeah, guys, please go to Adedamola's channel. He has posted the exact CV that he used. It's up there. You can find it there. And though it wasn't for a nursing job, if you want, maybe you can sidebar him. He'll probably charge you $500 an hour to do that for you. But
I would prefer you actually do that yourself because it's very, very easy. And the way I presented this template is such that you can edit it by yourself. And I
yeah,
included
for
some
any
key
job.
yeah, I included some key points on each of those lines so that you can know what to put there. So you can actually do it by yourself. I didn't have to pay anybody for mine.
Yeah, guys, and I'll post the link here for that particular video. You guys can check it out. Gertrude is asking, what is the website of the company you are working for? Are there vacancies in your company?
Okay, I would say that I will have to pass this, yeah, because I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose that.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, the major thing is know the jobs they are looking for, know the company wants to apply to, and then apply. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. And they know I've told them that before here. They know that one, so they won't even feel bad. I've shared with them that. um, are there nursing accelerated programs that give PR?
Okay, so in terms of so the I can only talk about the my own experience, yeah, because I didn't come through the PR route. So PR route is where you have to put up an express entry profile, put in your application, and you pretty much process everything by yourself. But mine is through work permit, meaning that I apply to a job and the employer process on my behalf. Yeah, so I can't talk to that because that's not my experience.
Thank you. So Jacinta, I will pass your next question. Which are the recommended cheap courses for it? So he doesn't have experience in that. My Canada
Yeah,
work permit
sorry,
and job.
sorry, Eva.
Sorry?
Yeah, I would say that many of these things are already on the Canadian website. If you go to the Canada website, just take your time. I know that many times we just want somebody to tell us or show us the way. Yeah, but I believe that you can actually take your time, even if it is just 1 hour in a day. Just go through the Canadian website. Everything is well detailed. And even all these agents, that's what they also do. They go to the website, they read through it. If you ask them for anything, they go there, they read through it, and then they now advise you. Yeah, so I believe that anyone can actually go to the website and get all the necessary information that they need because it's open to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you brought that issue of the agent. That's the other thing I actually wanted to talk about. I kind of almost forgot. I keep telling my audience here that you can actually handle the entire process on your own without an agent. And that's why we are here, to show people that it can actually be done. So maybe you can speak to that too, because every time people keep asking me, Eva, give us an agent. And I'm like, the information I have shared with you guys here is the exact same thing the agent is going to share with me. So maybe you can speak to that so that they can hear from a second person.
Yeah. Because I've seen the experience. In fact, in my mails, I see some people say that, oh, they reached out through a particular agent, and then the agent took them, so on and so on. Sincerely, you don't need an agent to process your immigration. I mean, because whatever they will do is still the exact same thing that you would have done by yourself. And what they do is to just go to the website, check for the information there, and then they now come back to you with that information. And as long as you can read and write, I believe that you can actually do that by yourself. You don't need anybody to do the pressing for you. And I mean, that's even part of the money that you're supposed to take to travel, spending on to somebody else. So I believe you can actually do it by yourself.
Oh, I'm glad you said that too. I keep telling people here, Canada is so straightforward. It's just that it takes a lot of work, so you have to be willing to put in the work. My Canada work permit and job offer, the company accepted, but they didn't send it back to me. Been 4 months. What can I do? Oh, I don't know. I don't understand.
Sure.
Do you
I'm
wanna?
not sure I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure I
don't
understand that,
understand it
but
too.
I believe that there's a route with which they could communicate with you. So maybe you could continue to try that route. Send them emails, and most likely they will respond. Or if they are not responding, you can also try other alternatives, other jobs as well.
Yeah. What was your struggle when sending documentation to your local embassy in your country?
Uh, this question is an interesting one. Yeah, so I think it depends on the country you are in, and depends on how the process is being fast tracked. Yeah, so I can't say for a specific country, but I can say that in my own experience, what I did was I had to send it to another country. I had to send my passport to another country to fast track it, because I mean, based on what I hear, there are times when probably they are. I mean, if there's so much inflow of passports to a particular state or a particular country, then most likely there'll be a delay in response. So that's why I had to send mine to another country to get it stamped before I travel to. Yeah, so it depends on your country, and it also depends on how fast it is.
Yeah, so if you realize your country is not fast enough, you can always look at that other option, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Gertrude is asking, what documents do Canada immigration ask for? Since we already talked about the port of entry at the airport, maybe you can talk about the work permit, because she's not specific. So maybe the
Okay.
ones you needed to submit for your work permit, the documentation.
Okay. So I believe that most likely your employer will tell you exactly all what you need. So basically, the basic thing you need your, I believe you need your passport, your international passport, which is stamped. You need the application page of when they applied for you, when your employer applied for you. They will send that to you as well. They will send you the payment page. They send you the application page. They will send you the offer letter, because it's also part of the thing that you present to the RCC officer. So I'm sure most likely your employer will tell you everything you need, and they will send all those documents to you. Yeah. So the major thing is for you to have your own documents with you, which are in your own possession. Like, okay, even they don't even ask for your transcript, because it's already part of the application process. So the major thing they will ask for is your passport, the application page that the employer sent to you, the offer letter that you got from the employer. Your probably you can also present your passport photographs and all. Those are the major things that you would need, and most likely your employer would have already communicated all those to you.
Yeah, and also just to add to that, when you go to the online website to apply, they show you all the documents you need. They will tell
Yeah,
you,
yes.
they actually have a checklist. So,
I mean, everything is on that website. It's just going to take time to go through
okay, thank you. Somebody's asking, which company are you working for? That one we are passing. Are you working for an individual or a company?
it. It's a company.
Okay. Do they ask for yellow fever COVID, malaria, etc.?
No, no. I mean, generally, Canada does not do that anymore.
Okay, thank you. Can SSCE holder get job? I don't know what that is. Do you know? SS.
Yeah. I think that's high school, an high school
Oh,
graduate.
okay.
Yeah, and there are so many jobs that does not necessarily need a degree. You don't need a degree for. Yeah, so just go to Canada job website. You will see the request. They will put it there to say, okay, this is what you are supposed to have. They always have a job description. They always have what they expect you to have in terms of qualification and experience. So you see all those jobs there. I mean, that does not need a university degree, and there are so many of them.
Oh, great. Good day, everyone. So, for example, 1 out of 2 couple get a job offer and are supposed to travel with his or her spouse and 2 children. Are they supposed to have proof of funds?
They are dependent to the uh, they are dependent to the main applicant. And I, in my own experience, I came with my spouse, and I didn't have to present any proof of funds. Yeah, so you don't necessarily need to have that.
Yeah,
The
generally,
major
when
thing
you
is,
have a job offer, you don't need to show proof because that's
yeah,
proof of
because
funds. The job
generally
itself is proof of funds.
yeah, it's proof of
And
funds.
your spouse gets a work permit as well, right? So
Yes, an open work
that
permit.
itself,
You can work. Your spouse
yeah,
can work anywhere in any
yeah, is
company.
proof of funds.
Yeah.
Concerning your flight booking, did your company help you? That one I think we already talked about. As an engineer in Nigeria, graduate with 5 years experience, what could be my chance of securing an employment? I think you answered that. Sorry, guys, I'm going too quickly because our time is up. Does Canada restrict jobs to some African countries? I think that one was answered. You said like if it's open, right? What's the name of his channel? IFRS. Let me post it here again. Check the pinned post. I've pinned it there. Did you write IELTS?
I didn't.
Okay.
I think that's the good side of the work permit route. You don't need to write IELTS. But if you are
Oh,
going
great.
through permanent residence through the express entry, there is a requirement to have an IELTS on your profile.
Okay. So guys, we've been here. I promised not to take more than 60 minutes of Adedamola's time. So again, Adedamola, my apologies for the hitch at the beginning. And thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey of immigrating to Canada from Nigeria, your insights into the job search process, the interview process, and the work permit application process have been invaluable. And I hope that the audience have gained a better understanding of what it takes to make this journey for themselves. So thank you so much. And to my listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you will join me again on the next live. And guys, please go and show some love to Adedamola. I have pinned the link to his website. He has amazing videos. Please go and watch them. Let him know that I sent you. Go and show him some love. And thank you so much for coming. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for
your
having
time.
me.
Our time is up, guys. We will see you on the next live. And of course, all those who joined, I know there were so many comments posting. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Adedamola. Have yourself a great
Thanks for
weekend
having me.
and rest of
Yeah,
your
you
day. It
too.
was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. So, guys, I need to find out how to end a live stream. Okay, maybe Adedamola, you can log off. I just finalize with my people.
Okay.
If you don't, I don't want to keep you longer than I promised. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I know there was some questions here, but we'll probably address them. I will go through them and address them in my next live. So I'm gonna end this here. And then you guys, if you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. I appreciate so much your guys' time. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we couldn't keep the guest any longer because I promised to keep him here for 1 hour. We already spent 30 minutes on trying to get the technology working. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate you guys so much. And thank you so much. So just enter any questions you have. If there's anything, I'll compile them and send them to him, and then I'll come back and share with you guys. Yeah, so thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I will see you. We probably have a live tomorrow, guys, 5 o'clock. See you there. And if you haven't liked the video, please like it. Let me know how it was. If you want me to do more of such videos, I am happy to find more guests on the channel. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you on the next one. Bye.